as I thought about what I was going to talk about today, this quote came to mind. The media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent, and that's the power. That quote is from decades ago, but it clearly holds true to this day. Being a journalist should be a privilege. After all, it's the only profession protected by the United States Constitution. It's one that used to be held in high esteem, high regard. I use the word used to because of incidents like this one. Paramount and CBS agreeing today to pay President Trump a sum that could reach north of $30 million to settle the president's election interference lawsuit against the network. Trump will receive $16 million up front to cover legal fees, etc. The lawsuit stems from this 60 Minutes interview, which aired right before the presidential election in October. Editors cleverly aired Kamala's coherent response to a question rather than her word salad answer. See now if you can spot the difference.
It seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Unbelievable. 60 Minutes, you know, it was once like the Ivy League of news operations. I know this because I worked at CBS News for 5 years. It was my first job out of school. I started at the early show. I worked my way up to becoming a producer for the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. Like most people working at CBS at the time, I kind of felt a sense of pride and accomplishment to work at such an esteemed network that upheld such high journalistic standards. I mean, you should have seen there's a lot of checks and balances. But then came that moment, this moment that Donald Trump came down the escalator. And then the obsession to destroy him, it became so pervasive across so many newsrooms because not only could the media not control Trump, he called them out over and over again.
You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed.
CNN and MSNBC's ratings, they have dropped dramatically since the election because millions of Americans, they woke up to the kind of scary realization that they were being lied to. They were led to believe that the epitome of DEI could actually win the White House. I mean, could you imagine if Kamala was our president right now? She'd be asking Bibi, Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah, you know, if he fell out of a coconut tree, while laughing all at the same time, right? As nuclear weapons and enrichment program was happening. I mean, and that the invasion of 20 million people, it would have been a complete takeover. There would be no ceasefire right now in the Middle East that we're seeing. We would not be having a thriving economy and so many other Trump wins that are ultimately actually for the American people. But many of the people, I can tell you firsthand, working at these networks, because I worked at them, they don't care about reporting the facts. They don't care about asking the tough questions, about being a mouthpiece for the American people. No, these overpaid journalists, they're now activists, they want to keep their fat paychecks by appeasing their bosses, the people now running these networks. They're Nepo, white elitist ideologues that think that they're serving some kind of higher purpose by distorting and omitting certain facts in order to achieve the ultimate narrative that Trump is the big bad orange boogeyman. But it appears the truth of Trump's success, it can no longer be denied.
The mission was carried out with stealth and with precision. There were no American casualties. And while Congress is divided after receiving briefings on the extent of the damage, I'm sure that we've derailed Iran's nuclear program, at least temporarily. And there's some valuable deterrent effect for America's adversaries who witnessed last week's exercise.
You know, border crossings are at a record low. Do you give the Trump administration some credit for that? And are you, when you look at those figures, do you think things are moving in the right direction, at least in that regard, Senator?
No, I don't give them credit for that, because border crossings are low because they're violating the law every day.
Look at that. Look at that. CNN and NBC News finally reporting the facts. I mean, it's some progress, but they're still rare moments, unfortunately. But I do love how angry the Democrats are getting when they're confronted with the truth that Trump is winning. You know, I think at this point, how could anyone vote for a party whose every decision is to your own detriment?
Instead of voting for a tax cut, they're voting for a tax increase of 68%. They're voting to destroy Social Security, destroy Medicare, and destroy Medicaid. And we're voting to make them perfect and to make them better, make them stronger and better. They're going to destroy Medicaid, and they're going to destroy Medicare, and Social Security will follow. If you vote for the Democrats, you're dead on those three things.
It's Democrats who continue to defend the indefensible. And the legacy media became their right arm, their very own propaganda machine, churning out the lies, lying to our faces for years, long before Biden's deterioration became undeniable for all the world to see.
What's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
He never knew what he was saying. And the media not only played cover, they lied. They blatantly lied. They played cover for the Democrats. They denied the validity of Hunter Biden's laptop and so many other scandals that it could have changed the outcome of so many things. You know, I know the fake news ratings, they're in a free fall. The data is showing that people are turning the channel to networks like Newsmax and record numbers. But, you know, that is not enough for me. See, I dreamed of being a news anchor ever since I was a little girl. When my parents would watch the news almost every single day, I hated it, but they did it because they needed to learn English. But then in return, my love for news, it grew and it flourished. I wanted to be proud. I wanted to be a proud journalist. I wanted my parents to be proud of me. And I want everyone to be proud of being a journalist again. The credibility of journalism can be restored. But the only way to do that is to keep holding the fake news accountable like President Trump is doing and like others are doing over and over again.
You know, folks, I thank God for my wonderful wife, my kids, my country, the greatest nation ever. And Americans like you who believe in the truth, the Chris Salcedo Show will never stop fighting for you.
The Chris Salcedo Show, for the news you need to know.